weren't around 25 years ago when the Acura NSX first debuted, you really missed something. It was a sensation, which is interesting because it was also rather subtle. It came after supercars of the era and said, I can do something you can do, but with less brawn, with more finesse, with more elegance. Now, 25 years later and 10 years after the original NSX died, it's been reborn. Here's the second-gen car, but much more complex under the skin. The powertrain is getting a ton of attention. It is still a mid-engine car with a twin-turbo V6, now mounted longitudinally, not transversely in the car. In between it and its 9-speed dual-clutch transmission is one of 3 electric motors. The other 2 are planted up front in the bow, each one serving one of the 2 front wheels. And that means it has instant and fully independent power and torque vectoring. Makes for a very smart, as well as a very crisp all-wheel drive experience, I'm sure. Exact numbers are still pending on the performance, but I don't think it takes a lot of convincing. You've got a carbon fiber plate under the bottom of the vehicle and a lot of very strong, stiff aluminum members taking up much of the chassis and other structure. And Honda says they've got a unique way of making them that achieves some of the strength and stiffness of forging, not just cast technology. Inside you'll find an LCD instrument panel that's actually becoming kind of common in cars these days, but it's actually relatively clean by comparison to others. You've got a low dash, they promise, and supposedly thin A-pillars for good outward visibility as you dive in and out of those corners and seek apex ease. I'll see what happens when we actually get one. Those A-pillars still look pretty chunky to me, and when they're laid down low like that, the sin tends to be compounded. Most cars in this class have pretty awful visibility out the corners. The styling is hard to miss, but it's not as distinctive as the original NSX was from the rest of the market. Orders will begin in summer of 2015. Production starts in fall, deliveries shortly after that, I'd imagine, and we're guessing at the price, but the rumor mill is saying $1.50. That also makes it different than the original NSX.